so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality, and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I'm super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features none other than you, the listeners. Optimistic is taped out of the epic spaceship-esque 8-bedroom property we call the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in Venice Beach, California. And you are invited to come experience a Mystic Manor immersion week with us. During your week-long stay, you'll enjoy unique workshops, chef-prepared meals, one-on-one time coaching and consulting with me, and even co-creating magic with me as a guest on both Optimistic and an episode of the Positive Head podcast. When I started this, my aim with these immersive retreats was to facilitate the ultimate spiritual upgrade and tune-up, so to speak, for our guests while providing them with one of the most memorable experiences of their lives. And I'm happy to say that as of this recording, every guest at the end of their trip so far has told me that they have had a profound and transformational experience at the Mystic Manor and that they definitely want to come back. All that being said, we only have a limited number of spots available between now and next July. And as of this recording, about half of those spots are already filled. So if there's any part of you that is screaming, yes, I want to come, I feel like I need to be there, go now and book a slot with me to discuss how we can put our heads together and make it happen at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. I know for some people, there is also that little voice in their head saying, why not? I can't get off work. I can't afford it, and on and on and on. But, really, Henry Ford, I think, said it best. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I'm confident that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm personally committed to doing everything in my power, including discounts and payment plans, to get you here if it is something that truly feels like a huge yes for you energetically and like you're meant to be here. Once again, the link to book time to discuss with me is calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. That's spelled calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. All one word, of course. And book in some time and look forward to seeing you soon here at the Mystic Manor. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. It is a magical Monday here in the studio. So grateful to be back with you guys as always. How you doing out there? How you feeling? Have you guys been feeling a lot of ascension symptoms? A lot of intense energy moving in your world? Definitely has been in mine. And so brought up actually a topic that comes up quite often. I've discussed before, and I felt like it was a good time to discuss again with all the things, all the energy, intense energy that seems to be flitting about in the universe. And that conversation is the future and what's going to happen in the future. Is the future doom and gloom? Is it love and light? The answer, I would say, yes. And this is something some of you who've been listening for a long time probably recall me talking about, this idea that you are having your own private experience. You are in your own private movie. And there is all the possibilities exist in the eternal now, right? There is futures where everything you can imagine and things you can't transpire. And then, of course, that leads to the question, okay, well, what version of reality will you step into? And the version of reality that I intend to step into is one where we are, we manifest heaven on earth. And I believe that's a true reality that exists. And, I think of it even like this. I could have someone sitting here right next to me right now in the studio, and they are saying, it's doom and gloom. It's going to be awful. Bad things are going to happen. World's going to hell in a handbasket. The exact opposite of where I'm focusing my attention. And what I would say to that person and what I would feel is our souls sitting here are kind of like ships passing in the night, right? Literally, we are sifting, and Bashar talks about this, how we're literally shifting dimensions constantly with our vibration and our perspectives and our offerings. And so that person, if let's assume they held true to that perspective that everything is going to hell in a handbasket, and I'm continuing to focus on, we're moving into the golden era, well, then that person would head into a timeline where that actually exists. And there may even be another version of Brandon there that held a different perspective than me in this moment, right? And it gets pretty heady when you start thinking about all these alternate versions of self and reality. And I believe that's really what's going on. I mean, people who are having experiences, I actually, my good friend John, who last person I ever expected to, have any type of a channeling experience or anything like that. We grew up together, and he's probably, the least in this world of anyone in my life, and he's been spending a lot of time here at the Mystic Manor, and he had experiences the other night where that shocked him, where he was merging with his higher self and seeing all these different timelines, one where he had a daughter instead of a son, and just seeing all these different potentialities. And it was really like earth shaking to him. And he said he saw a version of himself that was sort of tired of all the, playing out all these different roles. And I do believe, what's interesting about it is so many people that have expanded multidimensional type experiences see like all these different potential timelines. And, you guys have heard me say it many times that your life plays out at the corner of free will and destiny. And what I mean by that is, you are, I use it as an example. The first time I had a psychic reading when I was around 21 or so, this person said, "Hey, I see you in a cold place like Chicago working in business." And my jaw hit the floor because I was planning to move to Chicago and work in business at that time. And this was in Atlanta, Georgia, so we weren't even near Chicago. And then she said, and I actually see another timeline where you're in, California making music. And a year or so later, I formed a band and then met someone from California who brought us out for a visit, and the rest is history. So what she was seeing in that moment is the potential Brandons based off of where I was resonating in that moment sitting in front of her. And that's why if a psychic or anyone ever tells you, they can guarantee what the future is, I would say that's always BS, because you have free will. Your life, it's destined because it's already happened, right? Time is an illusion. Your 5th birthday party is happening on another channel, and it's free will because you get to determine which version of reality that you actually step into by being it vibrationally first to then see it. This is the way we navigate dimensions, I believe. And so it becomes so important for you to be in alignment with this version of yourself that is stepping into a heaven on earth, celebratory golden age for humanity, versus focusing on the wall, focusing like the race car driver that they say, whatever you do, don't look at the wall if you start spinning out, because you'll hit the wall. Let's stop looking at the wall. Let's focus on solutions. Doesn't mean we ignore the things that need to be done to clean up our oceans or the climate or, affect climate change, whatever it is. But instead of like beating the drum of what is wrong, let's focus on solutions. There are no problems, only solutions. Let's focus on the story of, whatever is a challenge for me is actually a gift, because my soul wanted to experience overcoming the challenge. So thank you for this messy situation I can observe and the opportunity to step in to a role of helping to bring solutions and not just talking about the problem. Where attention goes, energy flows. The more we flow, the more we pay attention to the problem, the more we create that problem. And you realizing as a creator being, as a fractal of source, of God, that it's so important where you turn your gaze, because your gaze is creative in nature, right? You are your energy, your consciousness is what creates realities and sort of affects what holographic timeline you step into next. And that's a very empowering thing to understand, isn't it? So instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, the world is doomed. This is awful. I can't affect anything. Instead of that understanding, the idea that, hold on, it's from within me that I affect which of a myriad of timelines, which one I step into. I get to affect it by so that's why it's so important to envision what you want to see more of, to meditate and drum up the vibrations and the feelings of what it would be like to be in that timeline where you are, out the other side, and we're overcoming all of these challenges. I mean, there's so many things that you can turn your attention to, your gaze to, that are happening in the world that are, really encouraging. Oh, a new fungus that eats plastic or whatever. There's all these things. Focus our attention there on the solutions. There are no problems, only solutions. And you start telling that story. And this is how you step into the timeline where heaven on earth is realized. And it's your own private universe, your own navigation system that will lead you there. Has nothing to do with out there. There is no out there. That is a shifting. If we could see what it looks like, really, you're choosing from all these varied versions that already exist in the eternal now. And that's a lot to wrap our brain around, I know. And to call in a little backup for that, by the way, before I do play this clip, I just remembered I wanted to share a cool thing that I saw that Buddha would do. Supposedly, in his lifetime, Buddha was always silent when students would ask any question that didn't center around remaining in the present moment. So it's really important not to get caught up in projecting into the future too much as well, right? Now, the power of now, right? There's a reason that's such a huge best-selling book in this, the spiritual community realm, if you will, because it's such a powerful concept. Like, oh, my power is here in this present moment. That is ever shifting, yes. And as you are riding that wave, you are learning to bring the energy that you want to see. If you want to know what you'll see tomorrow, look at what you're resonating with today. Right? There's a lapse in 3D. There's a lapse in I believe on the other side, we think something and instantly manifest. Here in the physical, I believe there's a lag, which helps us, protects us sometimes so that we don't see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man instantly appear when we think about him, 30 stories tall or whatever, like Ghostbusters. Instead, we have some time to rethink things and it's sort of, you're cooking the recipe over time, and it gives you a chance to really work with it in a way that you can focus and recalibrate as we get our sea legs as creators. Oh, hold on, I'm giving no energy for the last day on something I don't want to see, and I just caught myself. Great time to course correct. Worst thing you can do is beat yourself up for it, because beating yourself up for it creates more of what you don't want, right? Catch yourself, recalibrate, and focus on being in the now, like the Buddha talked about, being present to where you're at energetically, not getting too caught up in the past or the future, because those things aren't even real. There is no past and future. You can't show me your past. The future never comes like you really imagine it, right? So why even get so caught up on those things when you know all your power to create how they show up is in the present moment? The present is your gift. It's why it's called the present. So with that being said, I'd like to leave you with a clip. Well, I'll come back afterwards, but I would like to play a clip that I found on Avery Wilson's YouTube page. It's called Abraham Gives Vision for the Future 2020. And interestingly enough, it relates well beyond anything 2020 related, as you'll see. Let's take a listen.
The other thing that, and thank you for that, I'd like to hear, if you could, share a little bit about future vision. I can see a world where mind is the medicine. I can see a world where, sickness is a joint venture and a collaboration of healing versus, using poisons and pills. And I can see not a world government, but certainly a world family that's out there, and that war is a thing of the past. And I'd like just to hear a little bit about Abraham's visioning. Could you vision for us?
Well, we can tell you some of all of those things too, because we can see clearly into your vortex and into your collective vortex. In other words, we know clearly what you have created. But the reason that we hesitate to jump too hard into that is because sometimes people use that future promise as a condition to line themselves up now. And then that condition of that future promise gives you a distorted understanding of what your real work is. And so we've been talking a lot about never mind how you got here because you're here. So just revel in the fact that you're here. And never mind where it's going, because it's going. And it will light up for you along the way. And you just don't need to know everything that's going to unfold for right now to be really good. You see?
So I guess more defined to that is war part of
peace.
But is it part of form? Is it part of the contrast that we're here for? Is, 100 years from now, a whale's going to be...
What it is, it's an exaggerated wobble. In other words, it's a wobble that's gone not tended to. It's the inevitable byproduct of split energy that hasn't been considered. Because instead of getting to the heart, instead of acknowledging the love that you want to feel for people, instead, most of the world is out there talking about the conditions that they need to live differently in order for you to easily love them. In other words, we've had that conversation several times here today. But everyone doesn't have to figure this out in order for you to live the peaceful, joyful, life experience that you want to live.
I've kind of even given up the idea of figuring it out. It's like I'm trying. I think the older I get,
you know why? Because figuring it out leads to the next phase is. So I've decided, or we've decided, this group of whoever we are, of how to make the world a better place. Which means you all have to listen to us and, even more ridiculous, agree with us. And then we have to find some way of enforcing the decisions that we've made in order to create this conditional environment in which we can be happy. And the reason that you can't figure it out is because it's backwards of the way the whole thing is set up. That's not what the trajectory is. The trajectory is diversity. The trajectory is difference. The trajectory is variety. The trajectory is a buffet. The trajectory is an environment that induces within you, that creates within you a new desire that has not been before. And so some of these things that you're talking about, you've been talking about for a long time. Your historical books go back a very long way, and you're not sorting it out because it is unsortable, outable in that way. You can't get there from there, you see. The way you get, and where is it that you're trying to get? To alignment, to personal alignment.
Inside.
And so if you can accept that your personal alignment is not contingent upon anyone else figuring anything out, and you are dealing with your personal alignment, then one by one, more and more of you return to who you really are. And then you begin to live as you have intended. You know what's really exciting? These words, we are so eager to express to you in a way that you will hear them, and in an atmosphere in which you can hear them, and that's here and that's now. Everything that has been before has been leading to this moment in time when more of you are in the state of allowing and then moving forth. In other words, this is what you have all been waiting for. You've been waiting for your aligned awareness of this time-space reality. So everything that you've lived before, through all the wars and all the injustices and all of the things that you wish were not part of your history, every bit of that is what has perched you on this place of realization. So not only is your planet not on its way out, this is the beginning of everything that you have intended it to be. In other words, you all have been reveling in the idea. You knew that this moment in time would come. You knew that a tipping point would come when more of you would understand who you really are and why you are really here. A time when you would understand that no one else needs to stop doing something that they're doing in order for you to be joyful. That your joy is not dependent upon the change in behavior of anyone else. In other words, we really want to say it in enough different ways that you can really feel the full impact of what we're saying to you. This is your moment. This is what not only you came for, but what all humanity has been posed for, you see. This is what it's all about. To be in this time-space reality and feeling your own invincibility, your own potential, your own right place, right time, your own, this is the reason that I'm alive, your own, I'm loving this furthest, most expanded part of my beingness. And so, I want to say it in another way. Yes, there's been constant evolution, and yes, it will always be so. But it's bigger and more important right here, right now, because so many of you are now, for the first time, intending to be deliberate creators, and that's what makes the difference. You can't get it wrong. Life is going to cause you to launch rockets. That's always been that way, and it always will be that way. And the rockets of desire have always been received by Source, have always been considered, have always been tended to. The vibrational reality has always been there, and to some degree, it has been allowed by a certain percentage of the population. But never before have there been so many deliberate creators, not creating by default, not accidentally stumbling into things, managing your own vibrational frequency, because you finally put together the relationship between you and who you really are through the emotional content of your emotional guidance system. These are revolutionary times. This is the beginning of what you are all about. It's like you've lived thousands of lifetimes all in readiness for this, you see. That's why it feels so important to you. That's why it feels so big to you. That's why it feels like so much love to you. And that's why you can't tolerate it when you find some nitpicking little thing that doesn't mean diddly squat, and you make some big hairy deal out of it, and you prevent yourself from, in this moment, being part of all of this trajectory that you knew would be your life experience, you see.
We kind of go through our day thinking only blessings and honor the process, and it's already done. And that's kind of everything else is by the wayside. So.
We like that. It's already done, and isn't it going to be fun when I realize it in its full manifested form? In other words, realization, 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 realization. That's the name of this game. You want to pitch yourself in that vibration so that you can realize the perfection of it. Do you understand how many moving parts there are to make this moment in time the delicious moment in time of perfection that it is? And when you are vibrationally tuned to it so that you are realizing the pieces of it, then you're... Artists capture some of it, and photographers capture some of it, and musicians make beautiful music, and chefs make wonderful food, and there are all kinds of wonderful things that are happening. But the tapestry of this life experience that is available to you to be realized by you, we're not talking about the world changing, we're talking about you being able to receive the world that is, you see. That's why we call this the art of allowing. The art of allowing all that you have all created through all that you've ever lived. Now, here and now, you see. So often, you come to these gatherings and you think that what we're talking about is creation of what's coming. We're talking about the vortex that's already been created in your realization of it now. Turning those thoughts to things. Turning the thoughts that you thought lifetimes ago to things now in this experience. Turning the thoughts you had about the love of all humanity to things in this physical time-space reality. Turning to an illness that you've acknowledged into wellness that you've thought about for eons, for centuries, for lifetimes, for millenniums. In other words, all of that here and now all that trajectory right here, ready for you to pluck the fruit from it. And all you got to do is decide and really mean and practice till you're good at it, being happy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And each one of you, we love so much what our friend said before, that he's been paying attention, but now suddenly he's realizing the things that he'd been hearing before, now they're meaningful to him in a whole new way. That's what realization is. Realization. You allowing, the interpretation through your mental process of the thoughts that Source is thinking. Imagine. Source, who's been in on this for a very long time. Can you feel the satisfaction factor in that? That's available to you? That Source will generate such satisfaction that if you're in the right frequency, you will translate it through your solar plexus? That's a love that is undeniable. That's a love that you were born to live. That's what you signed on for in this life experience. You said, I want to be in on that. Yeah.
I visit hospice and I visit the hospitals, and when I go there, I don't pray for them. I don't pray for anything. I just my goal is when I get there, I don't really care what their illness is either. It's just I want to. My contention, my belief is that they're there for my healing, and my purpose there is to feel joy while I'm there, and that's the highest thing that I can do. Is that a correct understanding?
It is.
To be at peace.
It is.
And that's the end of it. I try not to even use words, and I'll have them talk about their best experiences, and then I'll talk about mine. And that's the process. Is there something that I can do more?
Revel in your knowledge about what non-physical is about. Express your understanding that we are all eternal beings. Feel eagerness for the adventure that they are embarking upon. Practice it before you get there so that there's no question from them that you really mean what you're saying. And then just sit with that grin on your face in anticipation of the adventure that they are upon.
Good. And I've got a lot of stories from the other side. So
Yeah.
and sometimes we even try to make connections right there on the spot.
Good. Really good. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So she affirms a lot of this stuff here. Revel in the fact that you are here. You don't need to know what's coming for now to be really good. You'll notice you can always find peace in the moment. You can any challenge you've ever had in any past moment, you found your way through, didn't you? Right? So why would you ever guess or stress or have fear about forthcoming challenges? Challenges are there to overcome and only make you stronger. So once you start telling that story, you can relax into them, which just makes them that much easier. It's like someone in a car crash. If they're really, a lot of times if they're drunk, they're the ones that doesn't get hurt because they're so loose. They're not tensed up, right? So they're flowing with what happens. So the bumps aren't nearly as brutal. So focusing on, that sort of energy, relaxed approach to the challenges that are ahead. Focus on your personal alignment. Everything, she said, has led to this moment of alignment and allowance. And this is the beginning for you. We're just this is like warm-ups. This is the beginning of everything you intended it to be over lifetimes. It's such a power knowing your joy isn't dependent on anyone else changing. Nothing out there needs to change. You're the one. You're in your own private universe, your YO universe. So, we have more and more people that are intending to be deliberate creators. It's revolutionary times, as she said. It's already done. You've already been there, done that, and gotten the t-shirt. There is no time. Time is an illusion. If you shoot me into outer space and bring me back a day later, I'll be a day older and you've been dead 100 years, right? So knowing that time is an illusion, it's already done, and, celebrating that And she talked about, won't it be so fun when we experience the realization of it, right? Knowing it now and then just watching it unfold and manifest. And we can have that, happy little smirk on our face. Like, I knew this was coming. I felt it. I called it in with my knowing before I saw it, right? The art of allowing, receiving what you've already created, being happy and joyous with the present moment, bringing your attention to the present moment. This is the key. Hope this key helps to open another lock in the understanding and remembrance of who and what you are and how empowered you actually are in this present wild, wild world that we all are pretending to navigate. And with that being said, I have some more keys for you. These are 10 laws. The name of the song is 10 Laws by East Forest, and it's Native American laws, pertaining to how to navigate, in some sense, a past reality, prior to a modern era. I feel like I saw this. I looked it up a long time ago. I don't quite remember off the top of my head, but, it's some particular Native American tribes' 10 laws of how to navigate and make your way through physical reality. And a lot of these things are so not an issue for us anymore because of the advancement we've made. And this is a great, sort of symbolism of what I'm talking about here today. That, these 10 laws that you're going to hear, some of them are irrelevant now because we've sort of made it part of society where they're already taken care of, whereas in the past they weren't, and they were needed to be front and center, right? And all the challenges that we are currently facing will also be looked at in this way 100 years from now or 200 years from now. And so remembering that, knowing that, and feeling into that now is the way that you call it into being and actually manifesting itself. So with that being said, I hope you are having a magical manifestation as we leave the station for this Monday. I'll see you again soon. And one other thing for any of you guys, by the way, who are interested in coming to the Mystic Manor, we do have a couple spots in December. And December's been sort of the toughest month so far to fill, I think, because of a lot of holiday stuff. So if you guys are interested, I definitely will do something extra special with the few remaining spots we have. You can check out optimistic.tv to learn more about what the retreat entails if you're just hearing about it for the first time. And if you want to go ahead and set up a call with me to figure out how to get you here, and I'll go over sort of this super duper special deal I'll give you guys for the last remaining spots in December. You can schedule a time with me at calendly.com/talk with Brandon. And Calendly is calendly.com/talk with Brandon. Would love to chat with you and explore how we can create. December is my favorite probably month of the year. I love the magic of the open-heartedness that seems to abound, and from the whole magic that is tied to it for children. And I know it can be challenging for some people, but there's also a lot of joy that can be experienced there. So having you guys here in that month would be, for me personally, a lot of fun. Extra magic here at the Mystic Manor is what I'm calling in during December. So let me know. And there's also on optimistic.tv a couple retreat videos with like past guests talking about it. And, you can see the trailer for the new show, Optimistic, which you'd be a part of if you should choose to come. But with that being said, I leave you guys with East Forest. This is the song 10 Laws. I absolutely love the song. Hope you do too. Till next time, journey well. Love you so much. And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
the dangers first. Always protect your feet. You always be ready for cold. Always be ready for heat. Always know where good water source is. Always master the skills necessary. Always get the job done. Always know your place. Always disallow foolishness. And always rest whenever you can. That I live by. Like a little song that keeps me on track. 10 fingers, 10 laws that I live by.
Could be that we're all musicians singing our way through life together.